And she was like, well, I'm not taking public off. And yeah, for every kid you had, the Social Security office, they hold it against you.
That's right.
And then they make you make up that time
That's
later.
right. Either you have to make it extra time, or you have to settle for getting paid less.
Right. Big time, everybody.
It's like, well, it's really important. That's good. Education is good for you. Because what really needs to happen, so we're going to put it on you, Valerie, is that the system really needs to change so we don't ding women for that, right? So that when she's taking off, say, for 6 weeks or 12 weeks because she just had a baby, that it should act like she's still paying in, like she never took a break from that. But that is what really should be happening, right? Because we shouldn't make it so you don't spend time with the newborn, but we shouldn't ding you financially.
Do you think laws will ever change regarding that?
There's only one way how it's going to change.
You gotta do something.
People have to become active, and people have to go, this is not right, and actually advocate to change it.
How many people do you think don't know about it?
I think most don't. Because the thing is, we don't tell you that usually, we don't tell you that when you're young. We don't tell you that when you're pregnant, or when you're in your 20s, when you're having the kids, or in your 30s. You only find that out once you go to claim Social Security. Right? But then it's too late. You can't say, well, I didn't mean to take off 12 weeks. Well, you did. Well, you can't then go back and go, well, let me go change it. Right? And so most people don't. Because unless you heard in this class, most people wouldn't have known that anyway. Right?
I used to read my law class.
Same, Valerie is telling everybody now. But otherwise you don't know. Right? You don't know that it affects you. Non-religious people are more likely than religious people to be unfaithful. So to have affairs, that's false.
Oh.
Yeah, nope. Religion makes no difference. Yes.
Sorry, that's a pertaining to the question.
Yeah.
What about the men that take that FMLA? Does that go against them as well?
Yes, it does. If the man, it's a family leave act, and it's the same kind of thing. If the dad takes up time that he wants to also spend maybe say 2 weeks or a month, whatever, with his newborn, or you're taking care of a sick parent, and you could, by law, you can take off that time. You can. So maybe he's taking off 6 weeks from work. Whether or not it affects his pay, that's a separate issue. That depends on the business stuff. But he can take off 6 weeks. Maybe he's helping an ailing parent. You could do that. But when he goes to retire, when you go, remember when you took care of your parent when you were like 40? Well, you got dinged 6 weeks. And so all that time, the Social Security will act like you're not employed, and so they pause it for that time period. Okay?
Is it easy to accumulate like vacation hours and just kind of just be like, hey, I'm going to save all those because I know I'm going to have.
That depends on the company. Some companies will allow you to do that. That's why when we hear some people, if they say sure driver when they say 62, for argument's sake, they might be able to do it when they're 61 because if they have, let's say, sick days, not vacation because we have enough vacation days, but as far as like sick days. But some businesses will allow you to accrue vacation. Other jobs will say you have a year to take that time, and if you don't, you start with scratch. You don't get to accumulate vacation. They don't roll over. Right? So then, yeah, it's not roll over minutes. So then you can't do that. Right? So that depends on the business. We have a family-based economy.
False.
False. We have a family consumer economy.
False.
True. You want to know that one. Because if on the test, perhaps, that says, what kind of economy do we have today, and you have 4 choices to pick from, you want to pick family consumer. Just saying, just in case you get that question.
Just in
Perhaps,
case.
just in case. You never
Just in
know.
case it's number 5.
Yeah. Since we have a federal policy which advocates a separation of church and state, we can be assured in the United States that religion will not affect public policy. False. It does. More men than women are incarcerated because of drug-related charges.
False.
False. Which of the following is a reason why there are more poor women than poor men? 1, fathers not paying child support. B, fewer job options. C, divorce. D, all of the above.
All of the above. Ha.
How cool is that, huh? Pretty cool, huh?
The effect?
Mm-hmm.
Someone learned something.
Sounds like I can be ways in which pregnant women are discriminated in the workforce today include A, fewer hours when returning from maternity leave. B, asking about intentions of becoming pregnant off the record during job interview. C, employers not making accommodations for the pregnant woman, so she is forced to quit. Or D,
All of the above.
See,
Yeah.
the skill twice. I know, right? I know. That's really the great thing.
Aw.
It worked twice. Females have a higher arrest rate for which two crimes? You should know that one.
Constitution.
Prostitution and shoplifting. You want to know characteristics that are common to women who commit a homicide? We've talked about that in class.
Wait, what was the two crimes again? There's a street.
Prostitution
And shoplifting.
What was the second one?
No, the characteristics common to women who commit a homicide, more likely that it's something not a firearm in her home, as
Oh,
opposed
the
to not.
fishes.
Okay.
What's that? They significant male in life, that kind of stuff. They tend to get longer jail sentences. We talked about last time reasons why there are more women in prison now than before. So you
'Cause
have,
now
if
we
you don't
can-
have it, make a friend after class.
Oh.
The quid pro quo type of sexual harassment, this one, there's a handout on Blackboard
Yeah.
that talks about the two different types of sexual harassment. So make sure that you know
It'll
the
be
difference
easy.
between the
It's gonna be
two.
long.
You wanna know what the most common type of rape is and what's the answer? We just did that today. Acquaintance rape.
Acquaintance rape. And the
This-
date rape was just about the
That's just a subtype really of acquaintance rape.
acquaintance rape. Oh, okay.
A lot of times they're like in the media or you read something,
They'll
they
separate
use
it.
they use them like they're the same thing. But they'll say date rape is acquaintance rape, but it's not really the same thing.
Okay.
So we talked about this one today, you have that. Reasons why clerical work became feminized, I gave you some reasons. There's a slide that we talked about why, it's a job that men used to do, but then things changed and more women started doing the job, and you wanna know, why, what are some of those reasons? Basically, you have that in your notes.
That's
What
the
are these-
little fingers one, right?
That's one of the reasons for, as far as a typewriter, that's one of the reasons, but there are other ones as well. We talked about issues women face if they're done in the workforce until they're older. What are some issues that they face? Like no experience, we just think that they're too old, right? We think that they need a job right away, they don't have the skills, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go over this one again. Examples of degenderizing religion. On this section in your notes, there's two ways how you can reconstruct religion. So the umbrella is reconstructing religion. From the ways that you can reconstruct religion, you can either degenderize or you can revise a religious text. Right, so far, so good. So if I ask you, for example, what are some examples of how you can degenderize? Revising a religious text is not an example that goes in this category, because it's over here on this side. Everybody good with that? Perfect. I will tell you that one of the handouts on Blackboard will also give you an example of how you degenderize. And so since you, I'm sure, have been or are going to be reading them, you'll be just fine. But that is how that's going to go. Yes? Alright, so here's my charade. If you talk about religion and say you want to reconstruct it to make it more equal, the top heading is reconstructing religion. There's two main ways that you can reconstruct religion. You can either degenderize or you can revise a religious text. Those are two ways. Right? Under this one, under degenderizing, we went over some examples in class. There's an example in your book, in the readings, of how you degenderize. But if the question perhaps says, which of the following is not a way how you degenderize? If one of these options over here says revising religious text, that's not degenderizing because that's a separate category over here. Right? It's not part of the degenderizing one. Right? I don't have any more charades. That's all I can do. Okay? But if it doesn't make sense with you in the class, and I'll draw it, it might be really easier. Okay? Labeling theory goes with crime, goes with chapter 9. You know what that is? The type of crime that's increasingly becoming a problem for college women, and the answer is
Rape.
stalking.
Talking.
Stalking.
He's just so moved by the rape.
Stalking is the answer.
Thought it was rape.
Look, two ways to reconstruct religion: revise and
Degenderize.
degenderize. Good. You should know the difference between the Puritans and the Quakers. So from those, you need to know which one is more conservative, which one believes more in silent prayer. Okay, so you have that in your notes. We went over examples of the last slide that you have in your chapter on religion, are different ways how religion has been used as a justification to why women shouldn't have certain rights. And you have those examples. That's the thing that starts off with quoting a religious text. That's like one of those. And you have a couple of them that we went over in class. Two things we talked about in class that has happened to women who do not follow the roles that are set forth with their religion. And what are some of those things? What have we done? Kicked out of kicked out is excommunication, or we can kick them out, or
Kicked out of the community. No.
that's all part of the same thing, getting kicked out. The Salem witch trials.
Oh. Drown
The
them.
Salem witch trials. Statistics for you to know. Percentage of secretaries and typists who are women. 99.
You're so close.
Women constitute what percentage of the labor force? Over 40%. Percentage of women in the clergy?
Oh.
15%. Percentage of rapes and sexual assaults committed by someone the victim knows? 68%.
What was
Two-thirds.
it?
That's among college women.
Oh.
So for college women, it's higher than not even. Percentage of women in prison who have a child,
68.
also 68. Women constitute what percentage of the prison population? Close, 7. There won't be 6 or 7 on the test, so you'll be fine if you think 6, because that's close enough. Percentage of college women who will be a victim of rape or attempted rape is 25%. 1 in 4.
Wow.
Women, for you to know for the test. You're going to get a question on Anne Hutchinson. What topic does she go with?
You skipped one. Don't cheat us. There's one in between the last two.
Well, that's all I have.
What percent of women will be a victim of rape or attempted rape?
That's 25%.
College women can get raped each year.
I don't know.
I feel like you're asking the same question. Let's see here. Statistics to know. Percentage of college women who get raped each year. It's like, because 25 is going to be who get it's rape or attempted rape, but when I say like 1 in 54 is actually who get raped. But you don't need to know that statistic. You're just going to cross that one off. You don't need to know that one. So when I skip, don't worry about that one. Did you have a question for me up top? Was that okay? Good. Anne Hutchinson. You know she goes on the chapter on religion. Did you know why I have her up there? Because you will get a question on Anne Hutchinson. You will need to know Elizabeth Cady Stanton,
Women's Bible.
the Women's Bible. Nobody should miss that question. I don't guarantee you that somebody will, but you really shouldn't, because I'm telling you, you're going to get that question. And Mary Baker Eddy, you need to know that one. Antoinette Brown Blackwell. Who is that? That's this one, true. But who's this one? Antoinette Brown Blackwell, first woman
Oh, first woman.
to be ordained as a minister and to have her own congregation is that one.
Don't get her mixed up with
And
Stanton.
Lee, founder of the Shakers. Is that?
Who's Sam? I don't want to get her mixed up with Stanton.
Yeah, I know. Okay, please. And Lee, founder of the Shakers.
Down in the shakers.
Sarah Gwen